If you want the lawsuits to stop, then I expect to be reinstated with full status, full protection, and full compensation. I won't work for free. Prince Harry, in an informal declaration to palace intermediaries, January 2026. The news broke like a thunderclap across the United Kingdom on the morning of the 21st of January 2026. According to multiple sources close to Buckingham Palace, Prince Harry has issued a formal set of demands to King Charles III under the pretense of a so-called peace dossier. At the core of the document is a single, polarizing ultimatum. Harry will halt all future lawsuits against the British press, but only if he is allowed to return as a working royal. Far from humble or conciliatory, the document is reportedly laced with entitlement and veiled threats. Leaked to a select group of reporters late Sunday night, the peace dossier outlines Harry's proposed conditions for what he calls a strategic reconciliation. The palace, however, has called it what they believe it truly is: blackmail by blood. Harry, still embroiled in an ongoing legal battle with the Daily Mail, has now escalated the conflict from the courtroom to the crown. Even more shocking, during a closed-door session at the High Court just days ago, Harry's legal team introduced statements implying that Prince William and Princess Catherine may have had indirect knowledge or influence over the media's most invasive tactics, a move widely seen as a deliberate provocation. According to courtroom attendees, Harry ended the session by smugly stating, "I'll be waiting for them in court. Sooner or later, everyone answers." End quote. The remark sent a wave of horror through the palace. It wasn't just the words, it was the tone, light, taunting, and laced with a confidence wholly divorced from the gravity of the institution he once swore to serve. At the heart of Harry's proposal is a concept he refers to as the Royal Reserve Program, a part-time model where he would serve the monarchy only when summoned, yet still retain full royal titles, privileges, armed protection, and access to royal assets. Under this program, he would be allowed to continue his commercial pursuits, including Netflix documentaries, book deals, and high-paid speaking tours, while also making occasional appearances on behalf of the crown. In his own words, as quoted from leaked internal notes, "There's no reason I can't serve when needed and maintain a modern, independent life. If the monarchy wants me to step in during Charles and Kate's health crisis, I'm ready, but I won't do it out of guilt or nostalgia. I expect terms." These terms, according to palace insiders, include restoration of His Royal Highness HRH styling in all official communications, return of his full military uniform and honors for ceremonial use, lifetime security detail paid for by the British taxpayer both in the UK and abroad, access to royal residences including Frogmore Cottage and Balmoral during visits, a fixed annual stipend comparable to what senior working royals receive. 2. Support his duties. Even leave makes toter. Freedom to continue commercial work without royal oversight. This level of expectation has left even seasoned palace staff stunned. "It's delusional," said one high-ranking courtier. He believes he's negotiating from strength. He doesn't realize the crown moved on years ago. Harry appears to be operating under the assumption that the monarchy is weaker without him. Palace sources say he believes the current health concerns surrounding King Charles and Princess Catherine have created a leadership vacuum he alone is qualified to fill. Never mind that Prince William has stepped into the acting sovereign role with complete authority, or that Princess Anne has quietly assumed more state responsibilities than any royal in the past decade. According to a palace aide, Harry framed his return as a lifeline to the institution. "You've got a sick king, a recovering future queen, and a public who still knows my name. I can help restore trust, but I'm not coming back as an afterthought." But while Harry sees his proposal as a rescue mission, the palace views it as a Trojan horse, an attempt to blur the lines between duty and brand building. The late Queen Elizabeth II was unequivocal at the Sandringham Summit in 2020. "You are either in, or you are out." Harry, it seems, is still trying to rewrite that rule. As of publication, no official royal comment has been issued regarding Harry's demands, but that silence is strategic, not passive. Behind the scenes, Princess Anne has already mobilized key allies across the Privy Council, issuing private memoranda reaffirming the institution's position on unconditional service. According to sources inside Clarence House, she told her brother, King Charles, "He doesn't get to pick and choose when he's royal. That's not how the crown survives." Sources confirm that Anne is also pushing for a formal review of Harry's status as one of the 5 counselors of state, a position that, if revoked, would signal the complete institutional severance of Harry from any future royal authority. Her view is reportedly shared by Prince William, who is said to be appalled by Harry's courtroom antics and unwilling to engage in any back-channel communication. "We are not negotiating with someone who casually accuses the future queen of criminal conspiracy," a senior aide to William told Legacy's Edge. As Prince Harry awaits the next hearing in his Daily Mail case, speculation swirls around whether he will attempt to force Catherine or William to testify either directly or by implication. Already, legal experts are warning that the strategy of naming senior royals in public filings could backfire dramatically, especially if the court finds Harry's team in breach of procedural integrity. But one thing is clear. What Harry sees as leverage, the palace sees as sabotage. "He thinks he's holding a golden ticket," said a royal insider. "But it's not. It's a grenade. There's no reason we can't modernize. You don't need to live in the palace to be royal. Let me serve on call. Let me earn. Let me be both." Prince Harry, excerpt from his peace dossier, January 2026. When Prince Harry submitted his now infamous peace dossier to King Charles earlier this month, few in the royal household expected it to contain what palace insiders now describe as a constitutional hallucination. Not only did the Duke of Sussex demand full restoration of titles, honors, and financial entitlements, but he also proposed a radically self-serving structure, a half-royal, half-freelancer model he calls the Royal Reserve Program. To understand the magnitude of this miscalculation, one must first grasp the premise behind the proposal. According to Harry's team, the Royal Reserve would allow pre-approved, part-time royal service that enables selected individuals, namely himself and potentially Meghan, to step in during major royal events or moments of crisis, while maintaining the freedom to pursue commercial endeavors like publishing, entertainment, and corporate partnerships. "It's a flexible monarchy," Harry reportedly said. Palace aides, however, call it monarchy on demand. Leaked excerpts from the peace dossier reveal Harry's confidence in this concept. The program is pitched like a hybrid between a consulting role and a personal brand management plan. Key terms outlined by Harry include recognition as a semi-active working royal with full ceremonial privileges, the right to wear military uniform at national and royal events, restoration of His Royal Highness styling in all correspondence and media, security detail in both the UK and the United States, provided by the British government, yearly stipend funded by the sovereign grant to support operational duties, access to royal estates, including Frogmore Cottage, Balmoral, and Highgrove, complete freedom to pursue private income streams without palace oversight, including Netflix, Spotify, book deals, and speaker engagements. Notably, Harry also includes language suggesting that his re-engagement could boost the monarchy's global perception among younger generations and offer renewed stability during Charles's and Catherine's respective health challenges. "He imagines himself as a reserve power source," said one veteran courtier. "He fails to see that the system was never designed to accommodate personal schedules or ego. It's to the mend." Perhaps most jarring to those within the firm is the philosophical failure of Harry's logic. At the core of royal service is the concept of unconditional duty, a legacy instilled by Queen Elizabeth II and fiercely upheld by Princess Anne. The crown is not a job, not a brand, and certainly not a performance-based contract. Yet Harry's vision suggests a structure where duty is rendered only if rewarded, where status is leveraged to negotiate protection, and where loyalty is transactional. "He is trying to retrofit the monarchy to suit his lifestyle," said a royal constitutional advisor. But monarchy only survives when the individual adapts to the institution, not the other way around. In his own commentary, Harry writes, "The world has changed. The crown must evolve too." Palace officials argue it already has, but not on his terms. No official statement has been issued regarding Harry's proposal, but sources close to Buckingham Palace confirm the royal response is both unanimous and resolute. The silence is not hesitation, it is rejection by default. Behind closed doors, the fiercest opposition has come from Princess Anne, who immediately condemned the Royal Reserve model as unconstitutional opportunism. According to sources within Clarence House, Anne addressed the issue with Charles directly. He doesn't want to serve the monarchy. He wants to license it. That way, Anne, now shouldering more ceremonial responsibilities than any other senior royal, reportedly advised the king to reaffirm the monarchy's zero-tolerance policy on conditional service first outlined during the Sandringham Summit in January 2020, where the late Queen Elizabeth II made the monarchy's position clear: you are either in or you are out. Anne, a living embodiment of that ethos, views Harry's proposal as a breach of everything she and the institution have stood for. If he believes he can re-enter as both prince and producer, he has learned nothing. She allegedly told advisors during a post-council session on January 19. Palace aides warned that granting Harry a hybrid status would not only erode royal integrity but set a precedent that future generations might exploit. Today, it's Harry and Meghan. Tomorrow, could it be Prince George wanting to split time between military duty and cryptocurrency ventures? Or Princess Charlotte balancing royal service with Hollywood? By legitimizing Harry's demands, the monarchy risks becoming a revolving door of self-styled influencers rather than a unified institution of national service. "We're not a casting agency," one senior official said. "We're the crown." Is wide. Perhaps the most damning reaction came not in a memo or briefing, but in a whisper from a senior palace aide speaking to Legacy's Edge. "He thinks he's offering us a solution. What he's really offering is an ultimatum with royal stationery." And in one sentence that has now circulated among palace staff like wildfire, he believes he's the rescuer. But in truth, we're the ones closing the gates. "If I'm to step back in, I expect full honors. That includes the uniform, the security, and the dignity I was born into. I won't apologize for asking to be treated like a prince, because I am one." Prince Harry, confidential note to intermediary advisor, dated the 14th of January 2026. What began as a peace offering has now crystallized into a manifesto of entitlement. Prince Harry's so-called peace dossier, leaked in fragments throughout this past week, contains not only a structural proposal for a part-time royal return, but also an itemized list of personal demands that insiders say reads more like a contract negotiation than a reconciliation request. According to multiple palace sources who reviewed the document in full, the demands stretch beyond mere reintegration. They represent a full restoration of privilege without the burden of accountability. Each item appears to be framed not as a humble request, but as a right Harry believes he was wrongly denied. And his logic is simple. If he is to end his legal crusade against the British press, he expects to be repaid in full with status, security, and sovereign support. Let's examine the 4 pillars of Harry's demand list and the deeper misperceptions they reveal. Harry's first priority is the reinstatement of all titles, honors, and ceremonial privileges that were either revoked or voluntarily surrendered after Megxit. Chief among them, the return of His Royal Highness HRH style in all official documentation and public appearances, the right to wear his military uniform, including medals and insignia, at state events, funerals, and parades, restoration of formal standing in the lineup of state occasions, royal processions, and balcony appearances. For Harry, the symbolism is paramount. His uniform is not just a garment, it is, in his mind, a shield against irrelevance. Palace officials, however, argue that military honors are not family heirlooms. They are conferred through service, not birthright. He still believes the uniform is personal. One aide said, "But it belongs to the nation, and the nation has moved on. This Texans acted it owes." The monarchy views this as a critical misunderstanding. Harry wants to wear the institution like a costume, while rejecting the obligations that come with it. Harry's next demand is for round-the-clock security, provided by royal protection officers, fully funded by the British taxpayer. This would apply while he is in the United Kingdom, while he is abroad conducting royal-related duties, the Simba, and critically, while he is residing in California, regardless of whether he is on official business. He has also requested VIP clearance at airports, access to military aircraft, and the reactivation of his diplomatic privileges for ease of international travel. But the Home Office and senior security advisors remain firmly opposed. Since 2021, royal protection has been strictly reserved for working royals, with risk levels evaluated independently. Harry's commercial lifestyle, including paid public appearances, book tours, and media deals, does not meet the threshold for public-funded protection. Yet, as a source close to the security review put it, Harry's view is that protection isn't about the job, it's about who he is. The palace views that as precisely the problem. Harry has requested the reinstatement of annual financial support under the sovereign grant, arguing that if he is to perform duties even occasionally, he must be funded accordingly. Additional financial demands include access to royal residences such as Frogmore Cottage, Balmoral, and Highgrove during his stays, coverage of official travel and lodging expenses for approved appearances, a discretionary allowance for engagement-related expenses in the U.S. In a private quote attributed to Harry in the dossier, he allegedly wrote, "If I'm to step in during Charles's or Kate's treatment periods, I shouldn't have to fund the monarchy's public image out of pocket." Palace accountants were reportedly stunned. "This isn't a reimbursement form," one insider said. "It's a royal ransom note. It's 7 older ascension bases. The final and most contentious pillar is the official recognition of the royal reserve concept, establishing Harry's return as a structural role rather than a one-time exception. Harry would be summoned when needed, but retain full royal standing year-round. He would continue private income through media and brand partnerships. His availability would be at his discretion and subject to negotiation." This part of the proposal triggered particular alarm within the Privy Council. Officials warned it could blur the line between monarchy and monetization, opening the floodgates for other royals to seek hybrid commercial ceremonial roles. "He's asking us to legitimize part-time loyalty," one advisor said. "And once we do, the crown becomes a marketplace." To Harry, this dossier represents leverage. To the monarchy, it is a constitutional provocation. One senior source close to King Charles summarized the reaction. He calls it peace. But peace doesn't come with a price tag and a signature line. Palace staff point to Queen Elizabeth's precedent in 2020, when she firmly rejected any half-in, half-out model during the Megxit negotiations. That line was not blurred. It was carved in stone. Now, 6 years later, Harry is trying to negotiate his way back across the boundary he crossed voluntarily. But the monarchy has only one response. The door is not just closed. It's locked, sealed, and reinforced. This is not a family you can blackmail. This is a monarchy. It survives because we do not trade our honor for comfort. Princess Anne. Private remarks during a Privy Council advisory session, the 20th of January 2026. If Prince Harry believed his list of demands would spark debate inside the palace, he miscalculated the one person who would offer no room for negotiation. Princess Anne. According to multiple insiders, it was Anne who delivered the clearest, sharpest, and most unflinching response to Harry's peace dossier. And in doing so, she once again emerged as the unbreakable backbone of the monarchy. The Princess Royal was reportedly the first senior royal to read the full document and the first to declare its proposals dangerous, disrespectful, and dead on arrival. What followed was a series of strategic moves executed quietly but decisively to ensure that Harry's hybrid monarchy dream never leaves the draft stage. To understand Anne's fury, one must understand her worldview. For 5 decades, she has served more royal engagements than any other family member, without fanfare or drama. To her, being royal is not about profile, it's about sacrifice. That's why Harry's suggestion of royalty by request struck her not just as absurd, but as an insult to everything she's built. He wants to be summoned like a temp? Royal service is not seasonal labor, she reportedly told a private counsel. Anne's remarks during a January 20 strategy meeting at Clarence House were described by one aide as a formal declaration of rejection. She insisted that no member of the family should be allowed to serve the crown on their own terms, especially not one currently under scrutiny for potential witness manipulation and legal misconduct. Anne also invoked the words of her late mother, Queen Elizabeth II, whose cut the diseased branch to save the tree doctrine was once used to justify distancing the crown from Prince Andrew. "It is painful," the Queen had said privately in 2019, "but rot cannot be allowed to reach the roots. What happened to the wrecked and resident our merman is biddle." Anne quoted that very line during the meeting, emphasizing that Harry's actions now pose the same existential threat. Reputational contamination through association. He is not being excluded because we don't love him. He is being excluded because the crown cannot be a bargaining chip. In her view, Harry's belief that he still holds leverage over the monarchy is not just misguided, it's dangerous. Anne's intervention went beyond rhetoric. According to reports confirmed by Legacy's Edge, she advised King Charles to reaffirm the Sandringham principle, no hybrid roles, begin formal procedures to remove Harry from the Councillors of State list, permanently ending his eligibility to deputize for the sovereign, reassess access rights to royal properties and assets previously available to Harry and Meghan under good faith clauses, end quote. Issue a silent but binding directive to all royal departments forbidding informal negotiations with the Duke of Sussex. Within 24 hours, these recommendations were shared in full with the Privy Council, the Lord Chamberlain, and the Cabinet Secretary. The message was clear. Harry's proposals are no longer up for debate. They are closed matters. In the days that followed, Anne made no public statement, but she didn't need to. On January 21, she attended a Veterans Remembrance ceremony in Portsmouth, dressed in full Royal Navy uniform. Her speech at the event omitted any reference to family, but included a pointed line: service is measured not by how often you're seen, but how often you stand firm even when no one is watching, end quote. Observers noted that Anne refused to engage questions from the press about the Sussex lawsuit, and notably stood beside military personnel Harry once worked with without acknowledging his past service. It was, in its quiet firmness, a rejection more powerful than any headline. Sources close to Anne say she now believes that no negotiated return is possible for Harry, especially given his escalating legal drama and continued media provocations. There are no bridges left to burn, a palace staffer confided. They've all collapsed, and Anne has blocked the rebuilding permits. For Anne, this is no longer about family. It's about the survival of the monarchy's moral authority. Harry's attempt to create a bespoke version of royalty half-duty, half-brand is, to her, the very definition of betrayal. If you need to be paid to serve, she reportedly said, then you never served at all. I'll wait for them in court. Another is that Prince Harry, outside the High Court, the 18th of January 2026, what was supposed to be a legal showdown between Prince Harry and the Daily Mail has now mutated into a full-blown constitutional crisis. In a move that stunned both the media and the monarchy, Harry's legal team submitted new witness statements on January 17 that pointed to systemic royal interference in past press operations, subtly but unmistakably implying Prince William and Princess Catherine were aware of or complicit in unlawful press alliances that damaged Harry's reputation. No direct accusations were made. Certain senior royal households appeared to benefit from selective leaks and reputational shielding. One document read, "There is growing suspicion, supported by internal communication patterns, that approval may have come from individuals currently protected under sovereign confidentiality." The legal translation? Harry is setting the stage to drag William and Catherine into the witness box. And in a chilling moment, captured on video, Harry smiling as he stepped into his car after the hearing turned to the press and quipped, "It's a long trial. I'll be waiting when they're called." What began as a battle for privacy has spiraled into a weaponized PR war, waged through subpoenas, accusations, and global headlines. Legal experts warn that Harry's tactic of conflating personal grievance with institutional accountability may backfire spectacularly. The moment you use the courtroom to settle royal family scores, the court stops being a shield and becomes a spotlight, said former Crown Prosecutor Amelia Temple QC. Already, legal analysts have questioned whether Harry's case, based on alleged phone hacking and unlawful data collection, has been contaminated by tainted witness statements, forged emails, and potential coercion of private investigators. The most serious blow came when Gavin Burrows, a once cooperative witness, told the court that his name had been used on a statement he never signed, and that he had been pressured to remain silent. His legal team has since requested that Burrows be allowed to testify remotely from a protected location due to sustained fear for personal safety. The implication? Harry's legal crusade may now be under criminal scrutiny. While Buckingham Palace continues to maintain a public posture of no comment on legal matters, sources close to Prince William are said to be deeply disturbed by the strategic leaks and courtroom tactics employed by Harry's team. It is one thing to sue a tabloid. It is another thing entirely to hint that your own brother and sister-in-law are co-conspirators. A Kensington Palace aide stated privately, "Catherine, still recovering from her recent health scare, has not issued any public response but has reportedly told senior aides that she will not participate in Harry's drama-fueled circus." The palace legal team has already begun preparations to intervene if subpoenas or legal motions are filed involving working royals, citing royal immunity and institutional precedent. But behind closed doors, the sentiment is colder than ever. He doesn't want justice, he wants revenge, a senior palace advisor told Legacy's Edge. And he's willing to sacrifice anyone to get it. The British public's reaction has been swift and damning. A YouGov flash poll conducted on January 20 shows that 68% of respondents oppose Harry's attempt to involve William and Catherine in his legal case. 71% believe the monarchy has handled the Sussex situation with restraint. And only 12% believe Harry should be allowed to return to any official royal role in the future. What was once a battle for moral clarity has now devolved into a reputational wildfire. The courtroom, once Harry's chosen arena of truth, is now the very place where his credibility risks complete collapse. As legal commentators now warn, Harry's actions may mark the first time in modern British history that a senior royal has attempted to implicate heirs to the throne in active litigation. The implications are staggering not just for public trust, but for constitutional stability. By implying that William and Catherine were protected participants in media gamesmanship, Harry has crossed a line that even his harshest critics believed he wouldn't dare approach. And if the court accepts further motions that involve other royal households, the Crown may be forced to draw new legal boundaries publicly and permanently. As one commentator bluntly concluded, Harry may win or lose the case, but the cost is already irreparable. He has put the monarchy on trial to save himself, and no one, least of all the Crown, will ever forget that. This is not about reconciliation. This is about control. Palace Insider, the 21st of January 2026. As the courtroom drama intensifies and public sentiment shifts further from sympathy to suspicion, one truth has solidified across royal circles. Prince Harry's return is no longer a question of when, but a confirmation of never. In the span of a single month, Harry has gone from embattled plaintiff to institutional threat. His peace dossier, once pitched as a compromise, is now seen as a strategic ultimatum cloaked in emotional leverage. And with each new demand, each careless accusation, and each court appearance filled with veiled threats toward William and Catherine, the path home has collapsed behind him. There will be no summons, no negotiation, no return. On the morning of January 21, 2026, just hours after Harry's legal team signaled intent to pursue further motions, Princess Anne convened a quiet emergency session with senior Privy Council members and the Palace Legal Advisory Board. Her motion was clear and without hesitation: to initiate formal proceedings to remove Prince Harry as a Counselor of State, and to permanently revoke all claims to royal representation under constitutional protocol. King Charles, informed shortly thereafter, is said to have given a solemn but decisive nod of approval. He gave up the right to speak for the Crown the moment he tried to bend it to his will. Anne reportedly said, by evening, internal memos were circulated confirming that no future state events, ceremonial listings, or royal briefings would include the Duke of Sussex's name. There will be no official statement denouncing Harry. The palace, in keeping with precedent, will maintain dignified silence. But silence does not mean inaction. It means closure. His HRH styling will remain unused. His ceremonial uniform will remain in storage. His presence will remain unacknowledged. In the quiet language of monarchy, these are louder than any words. Perhaps most telling of all is the reaction or lack thereof from William and Catherine. No interviews, no counterattacks, no expressions of anger. Instead, they've chosen the gray rock method: unshakable silence and steadfast focus. On January 20, while Harry made headlines in the High Court, William visited a youth rehabilitation center in Manchester. Catherine, still in recovery, sent a handwritten letter of thanks to a children's hospice team in Kent. Their dignity is their response, a palace aide remarked. They don't need to answer Harry. History will. It's not a Genneter habenis Beecher. In the end, Prince Harry believed he was the only one brave enough to speak truth to power. But what he failed to see is that the monarchy did not fear the truth, it feared becoming a tool for personal agendas. By positioning himself as both victim and negotiator, Harry tried to craft a new royal identity: modern, conditional, profitable. Instead, he exposed the very contradiction the monarchy could never accept. You cannot serve two masters, duty and self. He thought he was offering a clement branch, One senior royal said, but it wasn't olive, it was poison ivy. And now, as the palace gates remain closed and the courtroom lights fade, Harry stands alone, not exiled by force, but erased by principle,